Meganium. It's pretty bad for the most part. It was really good in Crystal Kaizo. If you're doing like stall strats with healing items, it can be okay. Is it better than Vileplume? I think so, but it's really average, I think. I think it's about where Vileplume is, maybe a little bit worse. Typhlosion, I think is better than Charizard just because it's not a flying type. I think I prefer that. It's okay. It's a fire type. Fire types are more useful in GSC, I think, more or less. You also just don't get as many fire types there. I think Typhlosion is probably a little bit above average. It's right here. Okay. It's pretty okay. It's like here. Feraligatr is outclassed so hard. Why would you ever pick it? There's no point. You get so many more good water types later on. I think it's worse than Blastoise just because you have like more options there. What is it even good for in GSC? What does it kill? What gym? I mean, like, I know the speedrun uses it just because of coverage, right? Water plus normal is pretty good coverage, I guess, and that alone makes it kind of good. It's probably the same usability as Blastoise, I would say. Furret is like pretty bad. I think Furret gets anything useful, right? In vanilla. It evolves pretty early, but I think it's probably like around Beedrill tier. Agility, Coil, Baton Pass. Yeah, okay, I see. So it's garbage is what you're saying. Noctowl can be okay early game, but it falls off so much. I think Noctowl is also around here. Ledian is garbage. It gets screens, I guess. Don't use Ledian. Ariados is also garbage. It's way too slow. I guess later on it gets like Shadow Sneak or some shit, but doesn't really save it at all. I think it's a little bit better than Ledian early game, but not by a huge margin. Lantern's pretty good. With Volt Absorb, it's incredible. Without Volt Absorb, it's still pretty good. Definitely above average defensive Pokemon. I think it's better than Weezing. I think it sits somewhere around like here, maybe even here. You can usually get it kind of late, but yeah, I think Lantern's around here. Really good coverage. Honestly, I think Lantern is really good, actually. It just doesn't deal a lot of damage, which is what Lapras combos really well with a lot of Pokemon. You can build good defensive cores out of it. I think Lantern is like around here. God, Togetic is so bad. Holy shit. It was okay in Crystal Kaizo, but that was really very... It gets some amount of utility moves, but for the most part, I think it's just bad. It's just bad. Xatu. It's a psychic type, I guess. It's definitely below average. Later on, it might get like Tailwind utility or some shit. For the most part, though, I think Xatu is like... It's a better Noctowl, I guess. It's probably like here. I don't know. It's not that good. Ampharos is pretty okay. It's not great. Being a slow electric type kind of defeats the purpose, but it's still pretty defensive. It deals a good amount of damage. It's like an electric type Vileplume, kind of. I think it's above average for sure. Is it? Yeah. I think it sits like here. Actually, I think it's better than Electabuzz. Wish Xatu was better. Xatu is pretty cool, honestly. Xatu's pretty cool. This is just bad. It doesn't have any of the redeeming qualities of Vileplume. Maybe you can do some crazy chlorophyll strats, but for the most part, this is just kind of gonna suck. I guess it gets Sleep Powder, right? So it's like here. I think it's like here. One thing to note about Ampharos is like, it's good to get a Mareep before Faulkner, and that like makes it pretty useful. Azumarill is a really weird case where it gets better every single gen. In Gen 2, it starts out as like low C tier, and then Gen 6, it probably ends up in like low A tier or mid A tier or something. It's really, really hard to rank among all generations. You can get it in most of them too. It plays like a role in almost all of them. In Gen 4 is when it starts to become like kind of usable with just physical special split. Gen 3, it gets huge power. I think it's like probably, yeah, but also only half of them have huge power anyway. So if it's not huge power, it's pretty bad regardless, right? It has the potential to be like mid A tier, but I think for the most part it ends up, it's really hard to rank among all generations, obviously, but it ends up like averaging out, I think, somewhere in like B tier. I think like here. I don't know. It evolves really early, which is nice. Sudowoodo is pretty good. I think it's above average. Static Encounter. Pure Rock type is a pretty good typing. It's pretty good mid game. Late game it falls off, obviously, but I think it's around like the usefulness of Graveler. The playlist I'm playing is this. I'm just gonna link it in chat. Polytote is usually you're not gonna have Drizzle, right? So it's just like a very average bulky water type, probably around the same usefulness as like Golduck. You probably just want Poliwrath, so you're never gonna use Polytote, I think. So it's probably like here. I don't know. Jumpluff is interesting. I think Jumpluff has some pretty unique cases. Fast Sleep Powders are really useful, and Flying Grass is actually a good pivot typing to like switch in and bait certain moves and switch out again, get in some Sleep Powders. It like deals like no damage, but it can take some hits, and it's really fast, and it has a lot of utility. So I think it's probably not above average. It's probably around like here. Okay. Apom is pretty bad. When do you even get Apom in Gen 2? If I got one in a randomizer in Gen 3, I'd be pissed. Does it get Technician in that gen? I don't think so, right? In Azalea City. Oh, with Headbutt, right? If I got an Apom off of Headbutt, I'd be fucking annoyed. Probably like here. Gen 2 has a lot of garbage Pokemon, man. I think Sunflora is actually like okay. Being real careful here, not to overrate it because of some biases with certain runs. You're never gonna make use of chlorophyll. You usually don't get a sunstone early. So it has the potential to be good. Like if let's say you're in a randomizer and you catch this early, it can be okay. But I think for the most part, it's just garbage, man. Like it's just garbage. When are you going to use this? Usually by the time you get this, it's completely outclassed by every other Pokemon on your team. I'm going to put it above Onix, but even that's like questionable. Yanma is just trash. By the time it gets good, you can just evolve it. I think it's worse than Ledian. Quagsire is really good. Once it gets Water Absorb, it's insane. It can get Recover if you're playing itemless. Quagsire is like water ground types are all really good, and Quagsire is one of the better ones for sure. I think it's better than Vaporeon. I think it's better than Rhydon. Honestly, I think it's better than Tentacruel. I think Quagsire, it even evolves kind of early. I think Quagsire is really good. I think it sits here. Espeon is pretty okay. Fast Psychic type. Gonna be pretty good. Probably like here. Umbreon is very conditional on your playstyle, whether or not you use healing items. Yes, you can stall out a bunch of shit with Umbreon, but sometimes you don't have the available TMs. I don't know when you get toxic when the game that you're playing, right? Are you using healing items? Are you relying on Moonlight to heal? And it's like, what is it, like 5 PP or some shit? When does it even get that? Like, offense isn't great. Dark types are pretty useful. I think Umbreon is actually pretty overrated. I think Umbreon's like kind of average. It's better than Meganium. I think it's like here. I think for the most part, if you want a defensive evolution, you just get Vaporeon. I think that's going to be better 90% of the time. Murkrow's pretty bad, right? Honchkrow is good and all, but I think Murkrow is like, I think its stats are a little better, and Flying Dark is a useful typing, but like it doesn't get any good moves. They're all going to be like, I think Murkrow's pretty bad, right? I think it's a little better than Golbat, but not by a lot. Okay. Slowking. I think Slowking's very much worse than Slowbro. Physical defense is much more useful than special defense in Nuzlockes, especially if you pair it with Calm Mind. Slowking's still okay. It's just, why would you ever get it over Slowbro, right? Sometimes you're not even going to trade this, right? Because you're not using trade. I think it's above average, but not by a lot. I think it's like here. Mischievous is really garbage. Ghost type can be useful to cheese some fights, so I'm going to give it a little bit of an edge for that, but I think for the most part, it's just bad. Okay. I don't think we have to talk about Unknown. It's easily S tier, right? It can have any hidden power type. It learns it naturally. It's really good. Hidden power psychic. You can give it choice specs, right? It's fucking incredible. Free encounter in the Ruins of Alph. I mean, what is there to say? Unknown is the worst Pokemon in the game. Okay. Wobbuffet. Now this is our hot take of the video, probably. If you're using healing items, Wobbuffet is probably somewhere around high A tier. Wobbuffet is actually really good. Without healing items, it's still okay. It can usually take out 1 Mon for free on your opponent's team. It does take a lot of healing items to heal it up because of its massive HP pool. But if you can keep this thing healthy, you can cycle through. In theory, if no one on the enemy team can two-shot you, you should be able to kill every Pokemon. It takes a lot of healing items to do so, and it's kind of annoying to grind with XP share. But for the most part, just because it's so reliant on healing items, I'm going to put it in mid A tier. But I think Wobbuffet is really strong. Honestly, even like, yeah, it sits like here. Wobbuffet is really good, guys. Don't get fooled by it, right? Grind it with an XP share and you're fine. Wobbuffet is great. Okay. Girafarig is like, it's like Mr. Mime, but worse. It's no fighting resist. Immune to Ghost is okay. I don't think Girafarig gets anything that stands out, right? I think it's just super average. It's a psychic type, which is okay, but Fortress, I don't think Fortress is very good. It's a steel type, so it's a really good pivot, but it's never actually going to deal damage unless you're using toxic strats. I think Fortress is overrated. It's like okay. With healing items, it's going to be okay. You can stall out a lot of shit with it. It's probably above average. Being only weak to fire is a really good typing. I think it sits somewhere with Chansey, I think. Maybe below it. because Eviolite Chansey is really crazy. It's just, you have to work a lot to make this work, but it can be pretty okay. Also, it's actually kind of hard to get because Pineco will have like self-destruct. Dunsparce is just garbage. Maybe in later gens you can do some like crazy shit with Serene Grace, but it's probably like Glare plus Body Slam with Serene Grace, but I think for the most part this is just bad. Gligar is pretty good. You can put an Eviolite on it, although you'd probably rather just have Gliscor at that point. Gligar on its own without Eviolite, it has a really good typing, but its move pool is really limited too in earlier gens. I actually think Gligar might be a little bit below average. Its moveset is so bad. I think Gligar is probably below average. I think in most games I'd rather have a Xatu. I don't get the subdivisions. Average, below average, bad, above average, good. All right, that's the subdivisions. Stelix is really good. It's like Fortress, but it actually deals damage. It has more weaknesses, so that's bad, but it actually can deal damage. I mean, sometimes you're not getting it because you're not trading, but if you are getting it, Stelix is really, 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 really good. It's really good. I think it's better than Vaporeon and Tauros for sure. It's like here. It's better than Rhydon, actually. I think it's better than Lapras. I think it's probably better than Machamp, actually. I think it's like here. Stelix is really good. Okay. Granbull is okay. If you can get Granbull early, it's like decent because of Intimidate, and like 130 base attack is a lot. It evolves quite early-ish. It's so slow. I think it evolves at like 30, right? Yeah, that's actually kind of late. Snubbull is so bad. Intimidate makes it okay, but God, it's so slow. Being fairy type later on is nice though. That probably puts it in average. It's probably like here. I don't know. I'll put it here. Intimidate is a pretty good ability. Quillfish, actually decent-ish stats, but it's no Tentacruel. Its move pool is kind of shit. It's so niche. You can make this work, but it's so niche. I think it's like here. Oh, it gets is Intimidate hidden? I think Intimidate is hidden ability, right? 95, 85. But like, what physical moves is it even using, right? 55 special attack. Probably like here. Okay. Quillfish is cool. I like Quillfish. I think it's a cool design. Scissor's insane. Just insane. Super good typing. Deals so much damage. Later gens, it'll have like Technician Bullet Punch and shit like that. Dude, Scizor is crazy. It's just hard to get, I guess, is the issue. It's not readily available at all. But if you can get one, you should always put it on your team, right? Which I think is probably means it's S tier. Oh, Bullet Punch is an egg move though, right? Yeah, I think its learn set is worse than I thought. I think it's probably like here. Okay. Shuckle is usually gonna be bad. If you're using healing items, it's okay, but it has massive defenses, but goddamn does it have no HP. I know we swept Crystal Kaizo with it, but Shuckle was buffed in that game. You can Toxic Style a lot of shit with it though. Probably average. It depends highly on your team, on your play style, and if you can utilize it and how many healing items you're willing to use. Without healing items, it's just straight up like F tier, and with healing items it's probably like high B tier. I think it falls somewhere in C. I think it's niche. Heracross is pretty good. I think Heracross is high A tier. It deals a lot of damage. It has a really good typing. Its learn set isn't the best, especially in earlier gens, but it can be pretty good. It's hard to get, but if you get one, you should probably be using it. Fucks up a lot of shit, man. Heracross is pretty great. I think Machamp is a little bit better, but I think it's a little overrated. Oh, it does get Guts though, which makes it kind of insane. Yeah, Guts puts it like ahead of a lot of these guys, I think. Sneasel is just bad. Don't use it. Its best move is Shadow Ball. It can be a good Psychic type counter for like Will. If you're playing Gen 2, I guess. I guess that puts it in C tier. It has like one redeeming quality. That's actually a pretty big redeeming quality, but that's exactly one fight. I think it's, yeah, it's like here. It's not that it's good in one fight, it's that it's great in one fight. And then it can kill some shit. Like, it's got okay stats. Like, against like the average trainer, you can probably use a Sneasel and get away with it. Oop. Yeah, C kind of means it has a niche, and F kind of means it's like unusable. Ursaring's pretty good. It's very slow. It's kind of like Granbull, but without Intimidate, actually. It's pretty much the same Pokemon. I think it's a bit bulkier. Not having Intimidate sucks. Getting Quick Feet later on might be useful, but I think for the most part, it's just like, it's a little bit better than Kangaskhan and like Pidgeot. It's like here. Oh, can you not get Sneasel before Will? All right, never mind. I think Arbok is a little bit better just because of early Intimidate. I think Arbok gets to be like here. Sneasel is an icy path. All right, never mind. I was lied to. Macargo is just garbage. Super garbage typing, super slow, garbage coverage. Actually, Rock Fire is okay coverage, but dies to like just getting looked at by a water move. So sometimes you need a fire type. Sometimes you need a physical defense mon. I think Macargo has some niche uses. I think it's better than every Pokemon in this tier. It has like usable special attack. I actually think Macargo is not complete trash. I think it's like here. Oh, like here. Okay. Pillow Swine is actually not terrible. Obviously, Mamoswine is insane, but like Pillow-Swine is pretty good. It has really good stab combination, but its special attack is so bad. And by the time it gets physical ice type moves, you can evolve it. Does this even get Earthquake at all? What ground type move is this using? Like in like Gen 3 or Gen 2? This doesn't get like any moves. Wait, this is so bad. Never mind. Fuck Pillow-Swine. This is definitely below average. If you want to give it your Earthquake TM, I guess it can be okay. Level 70 Amnesia though. Pog. I think it's better than Misdreavus, but below? Can I? No, I'm not allowed to place it above Misdreavus. Oh, there we go. It's just not usable. I can't think of any fight. Except if it's your only ground type and you're fighting like an electric type gym, I guess. Corsola, I've personally never used. Corsola is... Wait, this has an evolution anyway, right? Whatever. Corsola is garbage trash that needs to be eliminated. There's always going to be a water type that's better than Corsola in your run. And if there is not, then you've probably not fished on enough routes. So it's your bad. It's probably like here. At least it has a rock typing. It's like here. Pretty sure Regenerator's hidden ability. Octillery is kind of bad. It has like a good move pool, but that's the only thing it has going for it. Maybe you can do some crazy Octazooka strats, but I think for the most part, this is like worse than most water types on here. Delibird's really garbage. Doesn't get anything good. There's no reason to use it. Fuck Delibird. Mantine is pretty bad. It has really good special defense. If you catch it as a as the pre-evolution, you're probably just not evolving it because you would need a Remoraid on your team as well. Mantine, the Gen 6 buffs help. It can be good against like a ground type, rock type user. It has some niche uses, I think. I think it's somewhere here. Skarmory's pretty good. Getting Roost / Healing items is really good. I can like take on pretty much, like it gets like okay physical attacks. It can take on like anything that can hit it super effectively, or with like some crazy good special moves. Skarmory's pretty damn good. I think Skarmory's better than Fortress, probably a bit better than no, it's not better than Chansey. It's somewhere here. Hound Doom is pretty okay. It has a very unique typing that can be really useful. It's pretty fast, does good damage, decent learn set in later gens. I think Hound Doom's very consistent. Doesn't really change through the generations. It's always going to have use. It fills a pretty unique niche. I think it's better than Moltres, just because you can get it earlier. The problem with Houndour is in Gen 2, you get it so late. But you can get it in other games as well, right? I think Houndoom's pretty okay. I think Houndoom's like around here. I think I ranked Poliwrath too high, by the way. I think Poliwrath's like around here. The Nidos are also ranked too high. They're probably also more around there. Kingdra is really, really, really good. Only being weak to Dragon is incredible. Good moves. Swift Swim can be insane. Pretty bulky. Good damage. Just a very good, like, all-rounder. It's probably, like, a better version of Tentacruel. The potential is, like... Oh, it gets Dragon Dance, too, right? Yeah, in that case, it's really high, I think. It's, like, better than Slowbro or Scizor. Honestly, I think Slowbro might be better than Scizor, too. Okay. Oh, Donphan is, like, okay. Donphan actually deals a lot of damage, but its learn set is complete trash. It's like a lot of ground types where it's just so gimped by its learn set. Later generations might have access to Bulldoze and shit like that, but man, they didn't make a good like mid-tier, like a good mid-tier physical ground type move until way too late into the generations. It was all like you use Dig, or you use Earthquake, or you use nothing, right? That was basically the mantra for ground type Pokemon. They introduced Bulldoze at some point in Gen 5, but before then, ground types were just so bad. So bad in early game Nuzlockes. This can be like okay, but it's so slow. Ice Shard is an egg move. Like, it has good stats and that's pretty much about it. And even those don't really save it. I think this is pretty bad. I don't think it has a lot of... It has high attack and high defense, right? That's pretty much it. I think it sits somewhere around here. It evolves early. Yeah. All right. Almost through with Gen 2. Porygon 2 is okay. Very good move pool. Can be really good with Eviolite. I think it's above average for sure, but it's also, I think sometimes it's a little overrated. Getting Recover in itemless Nuzlockes is really nice. If you have access to Eviolite, good. Before Eviolite, it's just like, okay. It's decent. I found it to be not that great, and it's pretty niche to actually get one. I think it sits around somewhere here. Stantler is really bad, I think. It can be okay mid-game if you get one, but it falls off so quick. It just doesn't get any interesting. Getting Hypnosis is kind of nice. Its stats are just so underwhelming, man. Relative to when you get it in the game, I think it's better than Ursaring and Kangaskhan, though. I think it sits somewhere around that tier. It gets Intimidate, actually, yeah. That actually makes it a lot better. I think it's like here. Smeargle! Oh boy. So Smeargle under the right circumstances, can cheese an entire run if you manage to get like some crazy baton pass set with like Spore on it. But I think that's so rare that in the very, very most cases, I think Smeargle is just complete trash. It's really hard to rank because in some runs, sometimes maybe you can make this work and it can be insane, but in the absolute most cases, it's just garbage. And I think for that reason, it sits like at the very bottom of C tier. I think Venomoth can also be a little bit higher here. You need so many conditions to make this work. It's so much planning, it's probably not gonna happen. Hitmontop gets Intimidate, that makes it better than all the other Hitmon forms. So it's not that much better though. It deals less damage than Hitmonlee. It's probably around here. Miltank is pretty good. Miltank is actually really fast. Miltank is like 100 base speed. Gets Milk Drink for itemless Nuzlockes. I think Miltank is above average for sure. It's no Tauros, but it's pretty good still, I think. Tauros gets to sit like, Miltank gets to sit like somewhere here, I think. I think with Ditto, you're gonna find more niche situations than with Smeargle, personally. Blissey is, well, I personally ban it. I think Blissey is the best defensive Pokemon that you can probably get in Nuzlocke. Apart from maybe Snorlax, but Snorlax is like easier to use. But if you can use Blissey, I have a whole video on this. If I remember too, I'll link it in the description of the YouTube video. I think Blissey should be banned, but I can see people allowing it. So I'll put it in S tier here. The thing with Blissey is I don't necessarily ban it because it's too powerful. It just makes the run very boring because you just plan like every fight around the fact that your opponents basically don't have any special attackers, and you just plan around the physical attackers, and the game becomes so much like so trivial because this beats every single Pokemon that's not a physical attacker, Toxic or even Charge Beam or whatever you can put on this. You're just gonna beat it. It's just gonna happen. I think this is you have to meet some conditions to get this to work, and it's just not as readily available as Gyarados, but I think it's still super insane. Raiku is either S tier or I mean the problem with Raiku is you just can't really get it. Right? But if you can catch it, it's probably S tier. Maybe not though. I think it's probably high A tier actually. It has a very limited move pool, but it's very powerful. It's just so hard to get, but if you can manage to get it, it's really good. It's probably like here. Entei is just not worth getting, man. it's like here. If you can get it, it's cool, but like its learn set sucks so much ass and like everything where you can even get it. If you can get it, it's okay though. It's like a much better Flareon, I guess. Suicune is incredible. It's a better Vaporeon, basically. You can give it Calm Mind, which is insane. I think Suicune is probably the best bulky water type you can use. I think Suicune gets S tier. Just because of Calm Mind. Probably ban-worthy, yeah. I'm not going to say it's ban-worthy just because in a lot of games it's hard to get. How available is Suicune actually in Heart Gold Soul Silver? Can you get it easily? Oh, but it's super late game, right? I think if you're using items, you probably want to ban it. If you're not using items, probably not. I think should be banned is like you should just always ban this Pokemon. You can manip roaming encounters to be your first encounter, but then you actually have to catch them, which is quite hard, right? All right, I think Tyranitar is really, really good. Sandstorm is nice. The dark typing helps, deals incredible amounts of damage, decently fast, incredible move pool. Probably sits somewhere around here. You should probably ban Lugia. You should probably ban Ho-Oh. I've never used Celebi. I don't think I can judge it. It's hard. I would say if it was like a readily available encounter, it would probably end up in like mid A tier or something. I think Celebi is like insane. Tyranitar is just not very available in most games, and Sandstream can hurt your own team a lot. That's why it's not S tier. Okay, that's Gen 2. I'm gonna take a quick pee break. I'll be back in 3 minutes. Stick around if you want to support the channel. I'll be right back. Remember to follow me on like social media and stuff.